Hello and welcome to Reef Talk. I'm Scott Anderson with Mile High Reefers, and I'm here with Steve Rotter of RotterTube Reef. And Steve and I have both kind of gotten to the point in our reef keeping careers that
That's
we
right. We are quitting YouTube. We're done. We decided
no,
together. We've reached what yeah, we're done. I hope you enjoyed it.
no, but we're getting to the point where our tanks have gone past the point where we're building and adding coral and fish on a weekly basis, and we've transitioned more to that stability point where it's more about maintaining tanks and growth and water quality and just watching it grow over time. I mean, I've got reef stock coming up this next weekend, and I don't have room to put coral. I'm stuffed. So I don't know what I'm going to buy. I mean, I'm going to see a bunch of stuff, and I won't have any place to put it. I guarantee I'll come home with stuff I don't have a place to put. But it's kind of where we're at. I mean, I never thought I'd fill up that 210-gallon tank, but it is stuffed full. I mean, if I got to leave room for some growth. And
Yeah, it looks awesome, man. The tank looks killer. It's like, well, it looks like looking at part of the ocean. Mine is kind of empty coral-wise, but yours is just awesome.
right, but I know you're much more of a fish guy than a coral guy. And I don't think you could cram another fish into that tank as it is right now.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that you say that because I was at one of the reef stores I like to frequent, and man, I shouldn't go down this road, but they had the most gorgeous group of blue tangs.
Oh, nice.
They were large. They were larger, right? And they were healthy, vibrant blue. Man, I was tempted, man. And I'm like, I got to try it again because blue tangs and I don't really get
That
along.
is your unicorn.
Yeah. But damn, they're gorgeous. And I got to have one. But I'm like, screw it. I'm putting it in. I mean, my tank is, the bio load is too big now. And I maintain it well because I don't have much rock. I keep a lot of swimming space in front of and back of and through the rock. But yeah, I've overstocked my tank with fish. Everybody knows that. But I keep it well, and the fish are getting along great. Never fights. But yeah, I want another, but I can't. I won't. So like Scott said, we're talking about what should we make a video on? Well, where are we now? Uh, More of a maintaining thing, and I'm
Yeah.
enjoying my tank. I mean, a lot of my videos, I'm not a DIY guy, and like Scott, when we come up with ideas, we'll just post videos on it. Maybe it'll help you, maybe it won't, but maybe it'll give you ideas of other things you might want to try out in your tank. I've tried out so many things. I've had one sump, two sumps, weird experiments, two skimmers, one protein skimmer, different things. Right now I'm at a really great stopping point where I have my rotor tube for filtration media and a protein skimmer. And as Scott said, we're just at a point where we're just watching and enjoying our tanks. I don't want to or need to experiment with everything. I found what works for me. That's why we're both ending our channels. But we
Well,
hope you enjoyed the program.
my channel's
Oh
still
wait,
going.
not.
I don't know about
Oh,
Steve's, but I do have to say I never thought I'd get to the point where I couldn't cram more fish and coral into my tank. I mean, technically it's possible, but I am stuffed full of both fish and coral. And the equipment, it's pretty much what I want. I got a decent calcium reactor. I've got the skimmer I want. I've got the basement sump. I mean, I'm down to working on small problems like aptasia and minor algae issues and stuff like that. I never thought I'd get to this point. It's taken, what, 11 years from the time I started my little 29-gallon tank to where I am today.
yeah.
And I never thought I'd get here. But I've had a lot of people ask me recently, well, do you get bored when you get to the point where you're just maintaining a tank? And to be
Oh,
honest, no, this is what I've been working for. I mean, every day I walk into my living room and I have this beautiful tank I get to look
yeah.
at. And when
With less maintenance,
with less maintenance,
much less.
when the biggest problem you have is growth, it's fantastic. Now, I don't, I can't imagine how great it's going to be in 5 years, right? When the thing is just grown into a solid chunk of a reef. That's
Well, I think
real.
you're kind of there. I mean, your
Well, no,
tank.
I mean, it looks good, but I just got this vision of the future where this all just grows into a big solid reef, and the idea is just to manage it so that it can do that. I mean, I'm not really looking to add new coral. I'm just looking for it all to grow out into just a solid reef and just be covered in nice, large, grown out corals. And then to have those fish grow up and be big and mature. I mean, I've got some big mature fish like my blue tang and my desertini and stuff like that. But that flamingo, when that thing is a foot
Yeah,
long with the streamers and the adult coloration, that thing's going to be amazing.
yeah,
So, I mean, it seems counterintuitive to not be going out every day and buying coral and stuff. First, it's a lot cheaper, but there is just so much gratification in seeing the fruits of your labor and having it just look good every day, having it grow, having your system down so you're maintaining water quality. It's
yeah,
it's really nice. I'm loving that aspect of the hobby. And it's taken so long to get here.
yeah. I've experimented with so many different things, like how can I make this better? How can I make this more efficient? What if I had two protein skimmers? What if I do this? What if I do that? And that was all fun, and it was great. But like I look at the tank daily, and sometimes I think, what else could I put in here? How can I make this cooler? How can I make a change? How can I do this? And I know we all kind of think of that, but I'm instantly stopped with I don't need to do anything. I don't feel I need to do anything. But it's like maybe I should get another power head. Which one would I buy? And in the end, it's like my tank looks great. I don't need anything. So I just love doing the water top off when I feed them daily. I do a 1 gallon every couple days, and no big deal. I don't have an auto top off unit. I don't need it. I just put the 1 gallon in the sump as I feed them. It takes 5 seconds. Um, and instead of doing weekly water changes of 10%, I'm now moving to, I just decided last week, I'm doing a water change of 10% every 2 weeks. And it's really, really nice because I noticed that my corals do better. In fact, I was doing 15% water changes weekly, and my frog spawn, which is huge, it really shrunk down by like
Yeah.
50%. And then I remembered one of your videos where you were doing less water changes and your corals were thriving. So I'm like, you know what, screw this. I'm going to do a water change of 10% every 2 weeks, and I think that'd be great. So that's all I'm doing, and it's great to just watch the tank and not experiment and do things. It's just, I mean, it's fun to experiment, but
Yeah.
as Scott said,
So,
we're kind of at the point where we're just keeping it going and letting Mother Nature do its thing. We're at a good stable point.
yeah, how are your nitrates doing? I know for a long time you were
Oh yeah,
struggling with those.
yeah, man. With my huge bio load, with all those tangs are messy fishes, and man, nitrates are great. I dose sugar 2 teaspoons a day or every other day, and the nitrates are, 5 or less.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah, now I crashed my tank with bio pellets a while back. And I know I made a video, so we'll make this short, but basically I've got just a tiny amount left in the tank or in the bio pellet reactor, and I haven't bothered adding any because I don't
hmm.
have nitrates, and I guess there's no real reason to dose something if there's no problem.
But you will add them, right, when they
I
go
will. I
away.
mean,
You're
if I have a
you're still going
problem.
to use it, right? The
Well,
reactor.
I'm kind of down to where I'm just gonna let things be until I have a problem. So if I don't end up with nitrates, why run bio pellets and take any risk at all?
That's true. But the
It,
only problem with that is, what if you do get your nitrates when the pellets
well,
are gone?
I'm just gonna test,
Yeah.
and then when I start seeing a rise in nitrates, then I can start using my bio pellets if I need to.
But
But
then they're going to have to break in again if you had new ones. You know what I mean? You're going to have that
right,
break in
right.
sense.
But I'm not gonna wait for it to get to 40. I'll do it when it gets to 5.
Yeah, right, right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not going to be a big deal, but so I'm kind of at the point where I want to just kind of let my testing dictate what I'm doing. I mean,
And you said when you were doing less water changes, your water was kind of pretty stable, right?
yeah, I still don't.
And the
I,
corals were
s-
good.
I still hardly do water changes. I mainly
How
do water,
often?
pretty much when I need to fill my quarantine tank. I mean, my quarantine tank's right below my display, so I'll drain out the quarantine tank, and then I'll take the water from the display and take it down to the quarantine tank, and then I'll top off my display tank in the basement, and that's when I do water changes. And I
Like
don't
once a
have,
month?
oh, maybe. I mean,
Wow.
so the last time I did it was when I had that copper band and I needed it for that. It was probably 3 or 4 months before I did a water change before that.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
I just don't do them. Now my small tanks, the 29 gallon and the 5 gallon, I do every couple weeks. I try to do it weekly, but I don't always get around to it. But I work so hard to have the water chemistry the way I want it that doing a water change seems wrong to me because it's different than the water that's in there. And really trying to maintain stability. So if I'm putting all this time and effort and money into maintaining good water quality, why dump it down the drain if there's nothing I can find wrong with it? If my nitrates aren't high, my calcium's right, my alkalinity's right, my magnesium's right, if everything's right with it that I can test for, I don't see
Yeah.
any reason to dump it down the drain and just put new water in there that's different and stress things out.
That's a great point, and that's what I thought like 2 weeks ago. It's like, man. Oh, and then I was reading, and you guys know this, um, especially the frog spawn. You know, your tank will tell you when something's off. The corals, especially. The
Yeah.
frog spawn is a great, beautiful coral, but the frog spawn is also one of the first ones, and torches to alert you when things are wrong. They're very sensitive to nitrates. And I did a nitrate test. It was a 3 or 4 weeks since my last nitrate test. Sure enough, my nitrates were about, I think, pushing 15, and that's because I wasn't carbon dosing with the sugar for like a week, maybe a little more than a week, so they got a little bit high, and that's one reason my coral shrunk. But also, I was doing like 15% water changes once a week, so that's another reason I thought, you know, I seem to remember Scott's not doing that many water changes. I'm going to do it once every 2 weeks of 10% only, and I'm going to stay on top of the carbon dosing to keep those nitrates down. I mean, really, when you think about it, just what you said, if everything's pretty stable and you're dosing the calcium and whatnot, why do a change? The only thing I need to dose would be the calcium crystals, and I'll do that once a week when I do my water change to keep the calcium up for that coralline algae. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna do too, and just less maintenance. And things are looking great with the less
So
water changes.
I had a question about your coralline. Now, you were wanting to kill every Astrea star. I said that wrong, but anyways, Astrina star in the tank
Right,
because they were eating your coralline.
right.
How did that go?
Which part?
I mean, did removing the starfish bring your coralline back to levels you were
I
looking
think
for?
so. Yeah, because you know what? Before I got that harlequin shrimp to eat those stars, um, my coralline was, that's the purple on the rock. Look at my videos before I got that harlequin shrimp. There was very faint purple, and over the last 2 months, since I got the harlequin, there've been like no stars on the glass. And now you look at the videos, that purple is back on all the rock, and it's like vibrant, crazy bright purple. So they do bore through part of the rock as they move, and they eat away at the coralline algae. Um, yeah, it's been a night and day difference.
Yeah, I
It
had to
has.
ask because your last video I saw, the coralline looked amazing on your
Right.
rocks.
Yeah, and I'd say the last 2 or maybe 3 weeks, I went from having a dozen or more stars on the glass to over the last month having maybe one on the glass. So that little guy's doing his job, eating the stars. And in that month's time, the coralline has been going up. So yeah, I do think there's a connection there because, man, I
Nice.
went from like faint purple, barely purple, to crazy bright encrusted purple. So, yeah. Plus, also to help it, I started dosing a little more calcium crystals with every water change. So that helped bring it back. I didn't want to lose that coralline algae, you know, so I did
No.
what I could to bring it back. Which reminds me, I'm at the point now, my Harlequin shrimp, I think maybe he's running out of food. So I might have to buy a starfish because that's all they eat to feed them. And I got a hold of one of the places I got corals online from. Can't remember the name, but he suggested what you were telling me. Yeah, just get a chocolate chip starfish, but don't put them in because they're not reef safe. Just cut one of the legs off and leave them in the sump. I'm like, oh God, I just can't see
Yeah.
myself doing that, man. I mean, I think you said that they don't feel pain.
Well, I
I
don't
don't.
know if they feel pain, but they don't have a traditional central nervous
Yeah.
system
Uh,
like a vertebrate animal would. I mean,
I don't. I've never,
it's
as a
it's
kid,
not
killed.
like it's not like cutting a leg off a cow or something.
I know, but it's just I've never tortured animals. I love
No,
animals more than
I'm with
people,
you
but
on
I
that.
just can't see myself like taking a blade and be like, "All right, man."
I'm with you
Just
on that. I mean, I really don't know at
I
what point
don't
you
like
go
doing it.
from vegetable to animal as far as mental capacity goes. I think a starfish is probably much closer to vegetable, but
Oh, I wanted to tell you too. I knew this was going to be a mistake, but I didn't think it was going to be a mistake so rapidly. When I put that Harlequin shrimp in, I don't know if I told you. I think I did. My sand sifting starfish, which I
yeah.
absolutely loved, man, that Harlequin shrimp found him and dragged him into a rock and just completely took him out in like a day. Uh, I couldn't save them, and they eat really clean. It's not like there was fragments of the starfish everywhere. It looked like you literally took a razor blade and chopped off two legs. They
Wow.
eat really clean and really fast. I felt so bad for my star, and I wanted to try and save him, but looks like the center disc was damaged, so he wasn't
Mm.
coming back. I felt terrible, but I'm gonna have to do something to keep him. I'll probably just throw some starfish in there, but I'm not a fan of that, and I don't like the thought of feeding mice to snakes. It's just I don't know.
Yeah.
I know it's nature. Anyway, I just want to let you know that my Harlequin shrimp's doing awesome. He's out and about on the rocks more now. And yeah, ever since the stars are gone, pretty much the purple rock came back. Um, just awesome. And one other thing I wanted to add, remember a long time ago when I first met you, because you did the video on how to kill ick, that's what saved
Yep.
me, because no one knew anything, not even reef stores. That's a shock. Um,
There are good ones out there. Come on.
yeah, there are good, well, but I bought this purple rock when I started in the hobby, and it was coralline algae, and that's why my tank has all this lush coralline algae. But that purple rock, little one, carried marine velvet with it.
Mm.
That's what took out all my
Yeah.
fish. So all the purple that's beautiful started out as demonic because it carried marine velvet. Didn't quarantine, didn't do anything. I didn't know. It brought marine velvet and it wiped out all my fish, which is a nasty parasite from hell. But yeah, so every time I look at the coralline, I think of that sometimes. This started as the black plague in my tank.
Well, I gotta say that's one reason I'm not like so gung ho about putting more fish in my tank.
I
I I can quarantine, I can get it right, but the balance right now is so good. It's hard to want to disrupt that.
right. Unless you put dry rock in or something, that's exactly right.
But I
I'd be
mean, just so you got the potential for disease, no matter how good of a quarantine job you do. But it's also the fact that the fish have now been together. Um,
yeah,
what 8 months now? They've all kind of grown
yeah.
together. They know each other. It's become very much a community. It's peaceful. It's hard to want to disrupt that at this point,
Yep.
where everything is right. I mean, I really think I'd like to get like 25 blue green chromis and throw in there.
That'd be awesome.
I don't think that disrupts it too much, but at the same time, I really like what's there, and I hate to
Yeah.
throw any kind of wrench in that. So even like adding something like that is something I'm really just back and forth on.
Yeah, you're
So
right.
yeah, I mean, I'm really at the point where I'm not adding much because I'm full. I got no room for coral. I got no room for fish.
Well, you do.
It's
You've got a
pretty
lot of
full.
fish. My tank is a lot smaller than yours. You could certainly add a couple more
Yeah,
tanks.
I think eight's enough. I think there was a show called Eight Tangs is Enough or something.
You've got
Yeah,
100 gallons more than me, so I'm
yes,
sure you
it's
could do something.
and two of those tangs are going to get really big.
Which ones?
The desert dini and the flamingi are going to get just
Yeah.
massive. Especially that flamingi. Holy crap, those things get
How
big.
big is it? This Sardini gonna get? It's like sailfin. How
Yeah,
big
yeah,
is that thing gonna get?
that thing should get over a foot.
Really?
They get. I mean, you don't see many of them that make it to full maturity and full size in the reef tank,
Right.
but I mean, a full grown one will get over a foot. They get
Really?
massive.
Huh. Now, if you had like a 400 gallon, it will get larger, but being in the 210, he'll get big, but it'll
They'll get
stunt them
big.
a little bit. But he'll get big.
Yeah, but that flamingi, I mean, in the wild, those things will get over 2 feet, which is
My God.
crazy big.
What are you gonna do?
I don't know.
I have to donate them to your aquarium,
I'm kind of hoping he doesn't get that big. I'm hoping I got
public aquarium.
I'm hoping I got.
That's what I would do. That's what I would do. If one of my fish got to be so big where it's like, all right, there's no way, I would bring him or her to the shed aquarium. I'd call him and I'd say, hey, I would not bring him to a reef store because pretty much whoever buys them, they're going to be dead within a week. I'd see if I could donate them to the shed aquarium in Chicago, you know.
Well, speaking of getting too big, when are you getting that 8-foot tank to put your Valerie in?
Man, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I found a place online that I'd like to get a tank from. It is ideal, and it's glass. I'm sure you've heard of them. And I was doing some research. Some people love them, other people don't like them, but that's with all reviews. It's called Glass Cages. Have you
Definitely
heard of them?
yeah.
Okay, that's where I'm looking at. They've got an 8-foot long, custom, perfect, love it. But I don't know. It would save like a lot of money, but I'm thinking about going with that place in Texas where I saw at the Reef show, the Chicago aquatic experience, but that's like another $1,500. So
now, and just to anybody out there who's wondering, an 8-foot tank is probably to do it right, you're probably looking at the cost of a used car. This is not a cheap decision.
right.
It's not like something you can just decide you're going to go buy.
Yeah. The 125 was something I wasn't planning on. But I had a 28-gallon. I moved to the 75. I outgrew the 75 within a year. And I'm like, I'm done. That's good for me. And then I got the 125, which is perfect. 125 is a perfect tank. It's 6 feet long. It's great. Because fish swim from left to right, not up and down. And 6 feet is great. 4 feet was a 75. The poor fowlery, I saw he was getting crammed. The 6 feet, it's only 2 extra feet, but it does make a difference. The 8-foot tank, not only does it look stunning, it gives him, man, just back and forth. It's going to be awesome. And it's got the same depth as yours, because I think it's a 265.
Nice.
265, 6 feet, 265 gallons, 8 feet long. It's not tall like yours, which I like because it makes cleaning better. Yours looks stunning, but for cleaning it, it's better for me because I won't be up to my armpits and cleaning. So that's the plan. But here's the thing too, with that 8-foot tank, 265 gallons, the tank is right above us in the living room. I'd have to probably want to put it in the basement where I don't go much unless I'm in the studio here. So I don't want it to be out of sight. That's the problem.
Yeah, you definitely have to figure out about the weight there. That's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, because it's right above us. I'm sure it'll be fine because it's on an I-beam right now, but it would also make my life easier to set it up in another location and then transfer the livestock into it instead of draining that, moving that.
Right, yeah.
So that's a good question, Scott. I got to get money for that too, though. Which
Yeah.
kind of defeats the purpose of this video. We're at a good stopping point.
Yeah, absolutely. It gets crazy expensive.
Oh, speaking of that, that reminds me. I could maintain 2 tanks, but we agreed that 2 tanks is too much.
Two
And
tanks is too much.
I just sold last week my JBJ 45. Sold it.
I guess that's a good.
I was sad to see it go. I thought maybe I will do another tank, but I sold it. I took a little bit of a loss, but sold it to a nice kid who came out. He was going from like a 28-gallon to a 45, and I just got rid of it. It's nice to have one less thing in storage.
Oh, yeah.
So that's gone.
Yeah, 2 is too many.
Yeah, you know.
I can. Most of my attention goes to the 210. The 29-gallon I can pretty well manage. The 5-gallon just gets left in the dust. I forget about that thing. It goes without the water changes, without cleaning. I just forget to do it. I don't have time. I feel bad for that tank. I've been thinking about breaking it down and just moving the livestock to the 29 because I'm not doing a good job maintaining it.
Why don't you?
Partly because there's a Goniapora in there that's just thriving.
Nice. How long have you had that? Because I love those things, and mine passed away after a year.
I've had that thing for like a year, and it looks fantastic.
Awesome. Do you have much flow on it, or
Nope.
very little?
Almost none. It's
Okay,
dirty.
great.
I mean, it's by Reef tank standards, anyways. Dirty
Yeah.
water, super low flow, probably lower on the lighting side, and it just thrives. I'm almost afraid to move it just because I'm afraid I'll kill it.
Yeah, that is thriving conditions for those things. Slightly dirty water, very, very low flow, and they live in the darker regions of the ocean. Mine was great, and then it just never came out for like about 4 months. So it just kind of shriveled up. I think there was a little too much flow, and that's when I was getting nitrates down to pretty much 0. So I don't think it appreciated that too much.
Probably didn't.
But whatever. So, well, that's great. I'm glad that's thriving for you. I want to get one of those. I love those things.
They're great. Yeah, this one's one of the red ones. It was like a $10 frag. I mean,
Really?
Yeah.
So it was small, and then did it grow large?
So the skeleton's still not very big, but I mean,
Okay.
it extends out quite a lot.
Nice.
But yeah, it was just a trial thing. It was a whim.
Very nice. $10. That's a deal.
Yeah, that's why I was like, yeah, we'll try one, see what it does.
Awesome. Well, I can't think of anything else to add.
No, I think this was a good one.
Great. Yeah, me too. You guys have any comments or questions? I know you'll post them. Give the video a like. Subscribe to our channels. Rodder Tube Reef, Mile High Reefers with Scott. Check them out. I'll have a link to Scott's channel in the video description below. And let us know what you guys are doing. Are you putting more work in? Are you putting less work in? I'm glad I'm at a stopping point. Do I miss all the work and all the experimentation? No, I don't. You would think you would, right? But no, I'm enjoying just basic backing off, maintaining it. It's just now I can enjoy it as a visual art and enjoy my fish.
I sure don't miss the expense.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't walk into a reef store without dropping $100.
I know. I always find something. We all do. I hate that. I love it, but I hate it. So when I saw those blue tangs, I'm like, man, I'm getting one. I'm walking out of here. There's no way I'm not walking out of the store without a blue tang. And I just didn't. I couldn't believe I walked out without buying anything. I'm like, I gotta buy something. A fishnet, something. I gotta buy something. But I didn't.
All right. Well, we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, guys, thanks for watching.